Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our CAS 360 Lunch and Learn session today. My name is Andy, and I'll be the one presenting today. So today our topic will be focused on annual return. So before we start, just letting you all know, this session is being recorded. So after the end of this session, our marketing team will edit and upload the video, and you will be sent a link to access this Lunch and Learn session again. If you've got any questions during the session, feel free to type that into the Q&A section. We'll try our best to answer them during or after the session. Welcome everyone again. So let's get started. So in this session today, I'll focus on how you can use CAS UXT to file your annual returns. So the first thing you have to make sure in CAS 360 is you have to check and make sure you've got the agent information entered in the settings screen. So in this settings screen, if you've already added the agent, you should see something like this. So the agent name, the agent number, and the jurisdiction. So if you haven't added the agent yet, you can do this by clicking on the Add Agent button. And then you'll select Singapore from here and just enter all these fields here. So agent name is the name of the agent. So for example, Andy. Agent number is the filing agent number. So the filing agent number is not the UEN of the agent. It is the filing agent number issued by ACRA. And the format would be in the format of FA and then 8 digits, like that. And then the address and the email and phone number. So you can just save this for now, or you can save and authenticate with SingPass directly if you're going to do some filings immediately. Otherwise, you can just click Save and authorize whenever you need to do the filing. So just like that, I've added a new agent. So when it's first added, it will show not authorized with ACRA. So that's normal because it will only get authorized once you click Authorize Agent. Then you'll be redirected to SingPass. And then once you've logged in using SingPass, then the agent will be authorized to do filing in CAS 360. So just like this, you'll be redirected to log in SingPass. And you log in. So once you've authorized, you will then be redirected back into CAS 360, and then the agent will show as authorized. So each session, each authorization session will be valid for 30 minutes. So if it expires, it just means you will have to authorize again if you need to do the filing. So in CAS 360, it will show you what time does this current authorization session will expire. So this is the agent setup path. So the second thing that you have to make sure when you're setting up the agent is in CourtPass, there is a digital service name called ACRA API Mall. So you will have to make sure your user account in CourtPass has access to this API Mall. So to use CAS UXT to file the annual return, so this one needs to be turned on. So normally it would be turned on, but just in case if anything doesn't work, it's worth checking in your CourtPass account and make sure you have access to this service. So it's called the Accra API Mall under Core Pass. Okay, so to prepare and return documents, you will go to the return screen in CAS 360. So in this screen, it will list out the companies that the annual return date is within the next 6 months. So which means most of the companies will have the financial year end date ending this month. That's the companies that you will see in this screen. So if you want to prepare documents for that company, but if the company's annual return due dates outside of this range, you can always change this filter here, change it to some other dates, and the list of companies will filter based on that annual return date filter. So in this screen, you can also use the label filters and things to filter and select companies. So if you've got multiple teams within your firm and they've got different labels, you can always use these favorite label functions here. Then it will only show you companies with that label. So when you go into this screen, you might notice there's some companies showing missing Accra data in the comparison report column. And the button here, instead of prepare documents, it will say request Accra data. Because the first step of preparing the annual return documents for the company is you actually have to download the Accra data for that company to run the comparison report first. So to do that, you can either click on this button here, so click on request Accra data, then it will start loading, or you can go to options and click on request Accra data. So either way will work. So for companies that you've already requested the data before, if you want to do that again, you can use the options and this option here. So during the request process, if the process succeeds, you will either get back a passed or failed comparison report, or if there's any issues during the request process, then you might see a message saying error lodging. So if you see this message, what you can do is you can hover over that, and it will actually show you what the error message is. So sometimes it might be a connection issue where you can just retry again, or sometimes it might be your filing agent is not authorized for that company. So there's different reasons why this will not work, but the message will show in this section here. So for example, this company here I've got is just a dummy company with a wrong UN. So that's why it couldn't connect to try to download that information. But if you try with a valid company, what you should get back is either a passed or a failed comparison report. So for example, like this one says failed. So once you've got the comparison report information back, what you can do is you can click and open that comparison report. And then in this report, you can see what information CAS 360 has and what information Accra has. And it's broken down into different tabs. So the general details tab, which has the name, UEN, type of company, and the financial year-end date, and the registered office address of the company, and the officers, so if there's any information that's not matching, it will be shown in red like this. For example, for this company, I've got a director that is in CAS 360, but cannot be found in Accra's data. And I've got another sample where the company is in ACRA's end, but not in CAS 360. So when you see any comparison report errors, then you might want to actually investigate what's happening there. So for example, here, I've got a officer missing in CAS 360. So what I can do is I can just add that back in there. So I can check if there's an actual error. So if the company, if the director should appear or not, if it should, then I can just add that back into CAS 360. If there's something else incorrect, for example, like the ID number, then you might have to check actually if ACRA has the correct information or CAS 360 has the correct information and work from there. And there's some other cases where sometimes the name's not matching. So everything's matching, nationality, ID number, everything else is matching, but the name format is different. So for example, in CAS 360, maybe the surname's at the end, but ACRA, the surname's at the front. So in that case, because the ID number is matching and everything is matching, if it's just a name format errors, that can actually be ignored because it can be seen as the same person. So similar thing in the shareholders screen. So for example, I've got the number of shares not matching in here. So if it's just an error in the CAS 360 information, I can just go into the shareholder screen and edit that. And the activities, so the primary activity and the secondary activity, and the auditors. So if you have used the search register function to set up your companies and downloaded the information, most likely all the information should be matching. Nothing should show an error if you've used that search register function to download that information. So once you've finished checking the comparison report, you can then proceed to prepare the annual return documents and the AGM documents. So just letting you know, a failed comparison report will not stop you from preparing documents. So for example, I've got a company here, I've got some failed comparison report, but if I determined and decided the information in CAS 360 is good enough for me to prepare the annual return documents, I can still go ahead and prepare the documents. I do not have to make everything exactly matching before I proceed. So as long as the user, like myself, are happy with what I have in CAS 360, I can proceed with preparing the annual return documents and AGM documents. So the comparison report here is more like a tool or a platform for checking and make sure there's no obvious errors that should stop me from filing the annual returns. Just got a question here asking, do we have to pay for the request ACRA data? No, this one is free, so there's no extra charge of doing this because this is a mandatory process ACRA has set, so there's no extra charge for that. But the only thing is ACRA does not let us import this information into CAS 360. We can only use this information for comparison purpose. So we can only show that and display that to you, but we cannot do any import from this information into CAS 360. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click on Prepare Documents. So when you click on Prepare Documents, you're brought to this screen to prepare the annual return documents. So there's some toggles and questions that you have to go through. So for example, if the company is exempt from audit or if the company is audited. So these questions will change according to the company type. For example, if this is a private company, then I will see this question here if the company is exempt from audit. So let's say if I have another company that is let's say a public company. So I'm just going to change this to public. You will see the questions that I get in that screen will be different. So I will not get asked if the company is exempt from audit because this company cannot be exempt from audit. And I'll get these questions that's specific for public companies. Another sample is, for example, dormant companies. So if I've got a dormant company, dormant private company, if I go to the prepare document screen for the annual return documents, you will see I've got a question asking if it's a dormant relevant company that's exempt from preparing financial statements. So if it is, then you can turn this on and prepare the documents. So those questions and options and the screen will change according to what company type you have. So another one here that's worth taking note of is this small company option here. So if it's a private company that's exempt from audit because it's small company status, just check and make sure you've got this small company selected in here. Okay. So if the company is exempt from audit, then I'll turn on this one. And if the financial statements are audited, then you turn this on, and then you get a new section here to enter the audited details. So if the financial statements are audited, you will have to provide the information of the auditor and the signing auditor that signed the reports. So if you haven't added the information here, so in the company info, company relationships tab, so this is where you can save the auditor. In here, you can also save the signing contact here, but you don't have to save that if you don't have that information at the time you enter this. But that is required when you file the annual return. That's why the screen will not let you proceed with selecting a signing auditor. But if you've already got one saved in the company relationship tab, that should be selected for you already. And then it will ask you to enter the PA registration number. So that is the public accountant registration number of the signing auditor. So it's normally a 5-digit number. So the auditor should be able to provide that information for you. And then just enter the date of the audit according to the reports. So this is the information that you need to enter if the financial statements are audited. If they're not audited, then that section won't appear. And then another question here, if there is a company AGM, so there's these 4 options to choose from. And below that, there's a section here to confirm your uploaded Xbrl files. So all the Xbrl files that you've uploaded will appear in here. So if you've uploaded 2, you will see 2 here, and you can choose which one you want to submit. So in here, you can click on this link here, which will then open up the preview of the PDF of the Xbrl file. So if you've got more than one, you can always preview and make sure you're choosing the correct one. And just below that, there's a section for you to upload the PDF copies of the financial statements. So you can then upload those in here. And there's also a second tab here, the annual return minutes data. So these information here will appear in the AGM minutes. So if you need to enter any information for there, then you can enter them in here. So the information here is not required if you just want to file the annual return. So this tab, the information in this tab is for preparing the AGM minutes. So this screen, you can always save and come back to continue later. So you don't have to, so every change that you've made will get saved. So you don't have to prepare the document straight away. You can always come back and do that later. So once you've got all the information, then you can go ahead and click Save and Prepare from here, which will then bring you to the document production screen of the annual return and AGM documents. So this is the annual return document, which will show all the information of the company. And below that, there's a declaration section for the directors to read and confirm and sign. So we've received some feedback and requests about this document. So we're actually making some changes to this document to be released in our June update. So we're going to add some more information and work on the layout a little bit. But for now, if you need to change anything in this document, you can go to, so there's two ways. You can either export this to Word and make the changes from there. So you can export this to Word and change any information there. Or if you want to change the template, you can go to the settings and document templates and edit the template from here. So next month, we're going to release a new updated template. So hopefully that new one will work better for all of you. So if you want to change the director, what you can do is click on options, and from this form signatory section, you can then choose another one. So if you've got other directors, you can choose it from here. And then that should change the director that signs and makes the declaration in this document. So that's the annual return document. So all the other AGM documents are here, so they can be prepared from this screen as well. For example, this one is the directors meeting minute to approve the annual return, the dividends, the fees. So these informations were entered from that annual return minute tab before. So this is where the information will be displayed. So this is the AGM minute. And if it's a small exempt private company, we'll prepare this document as well. So once again, if you want to change the director that appears in that document for signing, you can change it from the options here. And each document that you see in this screen will have this export document to Word function. So you can always export them to Word and make changes if required. So once everything's okay, then you can either download that or send that by email using CAS 360. I haven't set up a default meeting address for this company. That's why I had to enter them for each document. But if you have a default meeting address entered for your company in the addresses tab, then that address will be used in all the meeting minutes as a default meeting address. like that. So you can add a default meeting address there. So another thing that could help you with preparing a document is you can actually set a default signatory or chairperson in the officer screen. So for example, if this officer here is always going to be the one who signs the documents and be the chairperson of the minutes, you can actually set that as the default signatory. Then for every document that requires a signature from an officer, this officer will be selected first as a default. So you can always override that setting by going into options and change it to another one, but the one that I've set as signatory will be the one that's selected by default. Like that. If you haven't set anyone, then it will pick the first one from the list first. Otherwise, it will choose the one that you have selected as default. So that is how you prepare the annual return documents for a company. So the documents that you've prepared will appear in the document screen, available to be lodged in here. So this is where you will then start the filing process. So in the document screen, you will see a lodge button. And if you go to options, attachment, you can see the documents that you've prepared previously. So if you're using the digital signing integrations, the signed copy will also appear here, or you can also manually upload any other documents or signed copy of the documents to keep them as a record here. Okay, so just got a question here about those meeting status. So I'll just quickly go through them with you. So attendee just means like a normal attendee that would appear in the meeting minutes. Signatory means it will be the default signing person of all documents and the default chairperson for the meeting minutes. Chairperson means it will be the default chairperson for the minutes, but the other documents that require signing will still go back to the first one in the list. So form signatory will be the default signing person for any document that are not meeting minutes. So basically, in other words, signatory is the combination of chairperson and form signatory. Hope that's clear. Okay. So to start the filing process, you will then click on Lodge. If the agent is not authorized, it will ask you to authorize the agent first. Otherwise, you will go straight to this Confirm Lodgement screen. So from this screen, you will then choose the officer who the information was verified with. So by default, it will choose the one that you've set as the signing person of the annual return document, but you can always choose another one from this list. It will bring up all the officers of that company. Same thing here, the statement, but directors have been signed by, so you can choose the directors in here. If it's only signed by one, you can remove the second one. Or you can choose other ones as well. And in here again, we will have this confirm upload Xbrl section here. So whatever you toggled on here will be the one that's sent in the annual return filing. And the upload financial statements again. So if you haven't uploaded the financial statements in the previous prepare annual return screen, you can still upload them in here. Or if you've already uploaded them in the prepared annual return document screen, those attachments will appear in here. You don't have to upload that again if you've already done that in the previous steps. So before clicking on filing, I would like to show you how you can upload Xbrl files first. So you can actually upload Xbrl files from this annual return screen. So let's say you've received the completed Xbrl file and you just want to validate and upload that. What you can do is in this screen, find that company, click on options, and there is an option here to upload Xbrl financial statements. So click on that one, then you select which file that you are uploading. So I've got a sample file here. This one. Okay, and then click validate and upload to Accra. So it will check if you have selected the correct file for that company. If the UN of that file doesn't match the company that you've selected, it will not let you upload. So this is to prevent uploading the wrong files to the company. So if the UN matches, then it will validate and upload to Accra. Once that's uploaded, it will then retrieve the validation result. So my files have some errors in it. So the errors will appear in the validation result file, so you can download that and view all the errors in the files. So if there are genuine errors in the file, it will not let you upload that. So you have to fix these and upload again. So if the file that you've uploaded don't have any errors, you will see a screen something like this. So a screen says there's no genuine errors. You still get a validation result file. And there's an option here for you to choose confirm the Xbrl data is accurate and complete. And then you can upload that to Accra. So once you've uploaded the Xbrl file, when you click on request data again, in this section here, it should then show you the new file that you've uploaded. Okay, so let's go through the process of filing now. So let's say your client has signed everything and confirmed everything's correct. And they've sent you back all the signed files and things, and you're ready to file the annual return. So what you'll be doing is you'll be going into the document screen, clicking on the Lodge button. And if the agent's not authorized, you will then be brought to the SingPass page to authorize your agent. And then from this confirm lodgement screen, there's some declarations here just to make sure you read and confirm them. And then you can click on the lodge button to start the filing. And then it will start submitting the data and uploading the files. Once that's done, you will then be brought to this confirm and return payment screen. So at the left-hand side, there's the payment information of the company. So this is the amount that needs to be paid for filing the annual return of that company. And at the right-hand side here, there's a preview document of the information that you're filing. So it's important to make sure you go through this document and check all the information is correct. So all the information that's showing here should match what you've selected in the previous screens, but it's always good and make sure all the information here is correct because this is the actual information that's getting filed to ACRA. So we show you which Xbrl file that you've selected and the director that signed the statements. And if there's any audit information, it will also show in here. And the activities, addresses, and the names of the officers. So the names in this document should all be matching with what ACRA has on their end. So as long as the information and the names appears in this document is correct, then it will be fine for filing. Okay, so the annual return is not considered as filed until you pay the information. So for example, if you're up into this step, but you cancel out, the annual return is still not filed. So on ACRA's record, the annual return of this company is still not filed. So they will only consider this as filed until the payment is paid. So when you click on this pay button here, then you will be redirected to the BizFile page to make the payment. So when you click pay, it will then connect to BizFile. And then you'll do the payment from here. So once the payment's done, then you'll be brought to this receipt page. And then at this point, then the annual return filing will be deemed as complete. And if you go back to CAS G60 document screen now, the lodge button will change to a button called check payment. If you click on that check payment button, it will then download that receipt information into CAS G60. And then a copy of this information will be stored as a PDF file in the attachment screens of that document. So if it's paid, you can download all the receipt information and store that in CAS G60. And that preview file is also stored in the attachment screen. So this one's also downloaded and saved. And then once that's lodged, then the document status will be changed to lodged once the payment's done and checked. So when you're filing the annual returns, you don't have to do everything at one go. So for example, if you want to save this preview file and get approval from managers or partners, you can download that or print that from here, and then just come back later to continue with the payment. So that is completely fine. Okay. So once the annual return filing's completed and the payment's done and the check payment's also done, the financial year end date and AGM dates and the annual return due dates will automatically get updated to the next year. So you don't have to go into here and change any of those dates. So once the filing is completed, the financial year end date will be updated automatically, and the next AGM date and annual return due date will also update according to the new financial year end date. Okay, so I think that covers all the things that I'd like to show you about annual returns in today's session. So if you've got any questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A session. And I'll try my best to answer them. So I've got a question here asking, after the AR's filed, where to get the freebies file? It's supposed to be sent to the email address of the user who's authorized and filed the annual return. So it should be sent by email to that user. Got another question here. The draft will be saved for how many days before payment? The draft will be saved there, like it won't get deleted. It will always be in there for you to check again. Like once you've reached that download preview stage, the attachment will be stored in here already. So it won't expire or it won't go away. So it will always be there. Another question, what if I do not use CAS system to file the annual return? How do we update the next upcoming dates? Yes, you will have to do that manually if you're not filing through CAS 60. So what you will need to do is you will have to go into the company details, update the financial year end date, and clicking on this calculator, then it should calculate the next AGM date and the annual return due date. So you will have to do it from here. Okay, another question here. Will the AGM annual return due date history be kept in the system? Not at the moment. We currently only keep the AGM, like the next AGM date and the last AGM date in here. Like we don't have a full list of the AGM dates history. But if you've used Cassie to prepare those documents before, you can go back to the documents screen and check the previous year's handwritten documents and find the AGM dates from there. Hope that helps. Okay, so that's all the questions so far. So if you've got any questions, feel free to type that in. I'll stay for like 5 to 10 minutes to answer any questions. And if you don't have any questions, thank you for attending this Lunch and Learn session today. Hopefully you've got something out of this session and start using the annual return functions in CAS 360. So once again, thank you for attending and hopefully see you again in our next webinar. Thank you and have a good afternoon and evening ahead. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'll be closing this session now. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me or log a support call to contact our support team. Thank you. And